from Halifax, Canada. Is anyone familiar with Halifax? So it is diagonally opposite from Sacramento on the continent of Canada. So about how many miles north of New York?
20-hour drive.
A 20-hour drive north of New York. So, and coming here also was by plane is a long way to get here. And so we're very fortunate to have her here. Another thing that is fortunate is that Sister Judy brings to us special gifts, which are, although her background is in social work and adult education, she is very good at packaging things. And so she takes something that many of us have studied as for self-improvement, and maybe we had that with us, and we put it away, and we go on doing our same things over and over again, our same habits. But she has a way of taking something that's complicated, and so complicated that you forget, and she packages it in a way that's very easy to take it with you wherever you go. And it's so simple and yet so meaningful. So I'd like to welcome Judy and thank you again for sharing your special gifts with us.
Can we all welcome Judy with one hand?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Can you all hear Judy or you need microphone? Huh? Microphone better?
I think it's good. Yeah, it's good.
For recording, brother, microphone is better?
Little better, but I think it depends. This is small room, so it should be okay.
Okay, okay.
Depends on the house you feel.
Okay, what do you think? You want to have microphone or you feel like this?
As you wish, whatever works for you.
We can arrange, we have microphone system, we can give you in a minute. If you feel it is easy for you.
You can hear me, can you? If I speak like this?
Little soft. It's a little soft.
So microphone is better. Okay. All right. Late is better than never.
So how many of you, who's a regular here? Is everyone a regular? No. No? But you've heard the basic knowledge of soul and God as Baba. Yes? This you have heard? So no first-timers? Nobody here is a first-timer. So
First time.
your first-timers?
But they are watching Shivani and Murli and everything at home.
Yeah, okay. So you've heard the word Baba. If I use the word Baba for God, you're okay
Yeah, no
with
problem.
that?
They are first time for the program.
Yeah, okay, good. Because this was created for public program, but I'm just going to treat you all like family. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Instead of public, we'll just act like family, shall we?
Yes.
That'd be nice, yeah. Okay, much better. How's that for listening? Thank you, Hansabed. So, such a high-tech sister we have, our Hansabed. Isn't it amazing? These are one of the things we learn, I think, when we come. It's part of self-transformation, because I never had the patience, or I thought the capacity to deal with these things, but all of a sudden, this comes, the capacity and the patience. So this is transformation, isn't it? From someone who says, oh, I can't do that, let's call a brother, to, no, let's figure this out. And then we do it. We succeeded tonight, the sisters. The little brother helped. So thank you for that. That was really great. So Linda said I'm from Halifax. It was the first place that the Brahma Kumaris ever went anywhere in the Americas. So North, South, Central, and Caribbean. The first sisters sent were Sister Mohini, Sister Chandru from San Francisco, Chandra from Mauritius, and Denise. And the four of them came to Halifax, which is the entry point for all immigrants to Canada. So we have the equivalent of Ellis Island. In Halifax, it's called Pier 21. And 47 years ago, Sister Mohini and Chandra and Denise came to Halifax, their first place ever in all of the Americas, and they stayed for 6 months, and not one student emerged. No interest anywhere. So even today, Sister Mohini calls it hard soil. It's hard soil, she says. So they went away to Toronto, New York, Guyana, and Mauritius, where service boomed, and nothing happened for 23 years in Halifax. And then 21 years ago, I'm the first BK student in all of Halifax. So a very deep seed planted that took a long time to sprout. In fact, I didn't even live in that place when they were there. I lived in another part of Canada, and my drama took me to Halifax and then became the first student. So, places where there is hard soil, there's always something happening under the surface that we can't see. This is one of the first rules of self-transformation, is that what you see at the surface does not give you much indication of what's happening underneath. So tonight I'm here to explore some of the tools for self-transformation. And I think some of the language I will use you have heard before, so it's not brand new to you. But I'd like to, so that's all right?
Sure.
And so I've been studying with the Brahma Kumaris 21 years now. And as Linda said, I have a degree in social work, but I never worked as a social worker. So really my background has been facilitating groups. When I graduated with a social work degree, I received a scholarship to study family therapy, which was my main interest, was family therapy and juvenile probation. So I worked in a detention center, lockup for young offenders. So it became really clear to me that these young offenders would never change their behavior in the lockup unless their families were also involved, because they would go home to their families, which would reinforce the same behavior, right? Behavior gets created somewhere, and often in our social setting. So I had a love for family therapy, and I got a scholarship to study family therapy in Italy, and I went to my social work professor, and at the same time I had received the offer of a job to facilitate our Canadian National Youth Program. And she probably gave me the wisest advice I ever received. She said, you know, the family is just the original group. If you learn how to facilitate groups, you'd have so many more options for your life. And so leave the family therapy, take the job facilitating youth, because it was an educational program for youth. So my love of groups, you know, now I have many, many groups to facilitate. I work as an organizational development consultant. And so helping leaders in organizations make changes to themselves or to the operating system of the organization so the organization can be more effective. So I've always been interested in transformation, but always from the perspective of what has to happen inside the person, what learning has to happen to shift the way they think so that their behavior changes. So when I met the Brahma Kumaris, I was ready for a deeper understanding of what goes on inside here. Because for the person to change a behavior, something has to make them want to do that. And then even if they want to change their behavior, what would give them the power, the strength, the tenacity, the consistency to make it happen over time? So this is what the Brahma Kumaris has given me, that much deeper understanding and awareness of how to make these changes happen. So tonight I'll share some of that wisdom with you that comes both from the organizational development, the social work, the adult education and learning, consciousness transformation. But really it's the Brahma Kumaris knowledge that with a little language from those other worlds. How does that sound? Do you want to transform? Why? Why?
Because we are not happy with the way we are.
Because we're not happy with the way we are right now. Is it?
Yes.
So our motivation for transformation is to be free from unhappiness, to get out of our own way, to stop causing ourselves sorrow. Is it? How much of your motivation for transformation is because you have tasted what you could be? Even a glimpse, even just a whiff, even a split-second experience of the kind of happiness you want. How many have had that experience? Right. So, until we know what's possible, we keep coping. We keep thinking we're happy until we really taste the true happiness. And then we realize, oh, I don't think I was so happy. I think I was trying hard to be happy. I think I was coping. I think I could look at my life and say, but I have everything. Good children, good husband, good job, good life, but still inside a hole in the soul. Was it? Yeah. So it's a combination of I have to taste something that makes me realize, oh, that could be, I could be like that, my life could be like that, right? That makes me want to transform. Because otherwise, the old way is I'm trying to change myself, right? Before we came to the Brahma Kumaris, many of us would have done personal development work. And so that would be like trying to change a habit, okay? Less angry, more happy, more content. We try to change ourselves, but we're actually just modifying, slightly improving. And when we come to the Brahma Kumaris, we discover we could actually transform. It's a big word. And it's very different than let's make a slight modification to how I live. Isn't it? Quite a big difference, transformation. So I'd like to explore tonight tools, 3 tools. I'd like to explore self in a little more depth, and I would like to explore transformation, because these are the 3 titles for tonight. The tools, the self, and transformation. Okay? So let's begin with transformation. I'd like you each to find something on your person or in your purse, any object at all. So I'm just going to pick this because it's nearby. You all need an object in your hands. It could be anything. Yes, a glass of water, perfect. Anything you have. Just find an object and have it in your hands and hold it up and show us your object. So we got a bunch of pens, we got watches, cups, cell phones, very good. I have this mallet. What else have we got at the back? Pen, card, that's nice. What's that? Glasses, a glass, a phone, cell phone. Flower, oh interesting. Lots of pens. Linda, what have you got at the back? A ring. The purse itself, very good. Okay, you got a pencil. Okay.
I got eraser and pencil together.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm just going to give you about 30 seconds, not very long. I want you to transform this object into something else. So currently this object has a function, right? So I would like you to completely transform this object. It will be in our minds, of course, according to its function. So in other words, find a completely new function for this object. Okay? Okay, you got about 30 seconds on your own to figure it out. You have to transform this object into something completely different. Okay? Done? Everyone have something? Okay, show the person sitting next to you what you've done with your object, or someone sitting nearby. Show them what's the new, how have you transformed this object?
Okay, so this is water and glass before. I transform it to weight on my hand, so give some weight.
Actually, I was thinking
Like I was thinking to use it to write something to inspire someone. But not right. So you have to change it. Yeah, twist it. Oh, wow, that's good. Helping, it's making it happy. Helping her kids. Very good. You can keep going. I will kiss
Okay. So I'm going to ask to see your objects. So I turned this into a chapati roller. Yeah, it's meant to do this, but I turned it into or a small cane. Okay, let's see. What did the pens do? What did you turn?
I can clip my
Hair clip. Very good. What else for a pen? Completely different. A hair, a beautiful hair ornament. Very nice. Other pens out there? Linda, what'd you do with your pen? Oh no, you had a ring. Other pens.
So what do you do with the ring?
it's a tongue silencer.
Oh, tongue silencer.
Fantastic!
In your mouth and swallow
ऐसा नया कहाँ सीखने को
A
मिलेगा?
tongue silencer. Very good. All right, how about cell phones? What did you do with your cell phones? What did you turn it into?
notebook.
A notebook. Very good.
While the flies, I just turned off. Turned off the phone.
Yeah, turned off the
Used
phone.
For like make a square
Oh, to make a square.
triangle.
Like if
Like
you were
a-
cutting something
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
wanted to put it down
Right,
and you
and cutting
colored
it
it
out.
out. Very
On the
good.
paper you want
You
to
needed
put
a
an
shape.
Shape, right.
Right, okay, like a stencil.
Yes,
Almost.
stencil. It's
Okay.
a stencil.
What else for the other cell phones? What else did you do? Did anyone use as a rain protector? A small umbrella? No?
Sun protection.
Sun protection. Thank you. Very good. What else? Cell phone, brother, what did you transform your cell phone into?
Wireless mic.
A wireless mic. Very nice. Okay, now let's hear, what'd you do with your glass, Dole?
So before it is glass of water, then I transform it to the weight on my hand to lift, for the exercise.
So for exercise, like a weight. Very nice. Very good. Okay, how about your water bottle?
I just did like fuel to my body with the water.
Fuel to your body with water, but you could also do some bicep curls with yours. Very good for that. Okay. How about your watch? What did you do with your watch?
So the primary function is to tell time, but since it's an Apple Watch, basically like listening to music and all that stuff too, I guess.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
Or how about an anklet?
Very nice.
Yeah.
An anklet. And what about a hair?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you put that around your hair. Then your hair can listen to music. Very good. What did you have?
So this is my calculator. So I can calculate my time, my calendar. Yeah. I don't know my
Okay.
calculator.
And it could be a hair clip.
Yeah, it could be a clip.
Yes, it could be a very nice brooch.
Maybe.
Okay, what else have we got? What did you do with your bottle?
It's an armrest.
An armrest. I see it's very functional that way for you, isn't it? Very nice. And an elbow rest. Very good. Once the butterfly emerges, there is no caterpillar left. That's transformation. Not just adaptation, coping, change, modification. This is the secret. When I create something new, it automatically destroys the old. If, and only if, what?
I wish.
Isn't it? The secret to transformation is sustaining. Yeah? So, we have to think about how do we sustain focus and momentum on the new rather than bouncing back all the time to the old. So these are the 3 tools I want to explore with you today. And the first one starts with, well, who is the self? And I think you all know this. Who's the self we're trying to transform? The soul, of course. So the soul. There I am, from caterpillar to butterfly. From human to divine being. Right? God-infused energy in the soul makes me more than just human. Isn't it? Here they say deity, godlike, goddess. Today in the Merli it said princess. You know? But becoming the best human being possible. Remembered by many traditions with many words. Deities, gods, goddesses. All these things. So, who is this soul? I want to do a little experiment with you and see if we can experience this. So, I did this today. I'm going to do this again for those who weren't there. I'm going to make this bell sound. And it's a beautiful sound. And I'm going to ask you to listen as carefully as you can until the sound completely disappears. And see if you can catch that instant when there's no more sound. Okay, so this will be concentrating. Okay, so listen carefully. Sometimes it helps to close your eyes so you can hear better. Here we go. Could you catch it? Could you tell when the sound completely disappeared? And then what was there? Silence. Silence where? Not in the room, the fans were still going. Silence where? Inside. Inside the self, wasn't it? In the mind? It's beautiful. It's like the sound provides a thread or a pathway in to silence. Yeah? So I'm going to do it one more time. And this time I would like you to pay attention if you can catch the moment when your attention shifts from your ears, hearing the vibrations, okay, until a shift from the ears to the soul. Okay, if you can notice when your attention shifts from ears to soul. Okay, so here we go, one more time. Okay, what did you notice? Could you tell when you were paying attention to the ears and then when you were paying attention here? At what point did that happen for you?
When the sound started fading.
Right, when the sound faded. Right? And we couldn't quite hear it with the ears anymore. And then what happened? It was like the soul is trying to catch the vibration, isn't it? So you go from a gross, like the sound wave is actually like this, and that's why we can hear it. And when it gets like this, we can't hear it any, the ear can't pick up, then the soul started, right? Did you notice that? Could you tell the difference between ears and soul? Yeah? What's the difference?
Then the sound, and then the vibration, and then the quietness. The
Quietness.
And
Peace. Right. So all day our ears hear many, many things, don't they? Even things that I'm not really paying attention to. There's noise in our world. A lot of noise, isn't there? Constantly we're surrounded by noise. So all day the ears are hearing things. But what's the soul doing? If the ears are hearing, what is the soul doing?
Like, you can, like, if something in the mind, like, you think about or something like that.
Okay. So the ears are hearing, what's the soul doing?
Thinking and visualizing.
Thinking and visualizing. Silence. Hearing. The ears are hearing.
feelings.
Analyze.
The soul is feeling. The soul's analyzing. The soul is listening. Ears hear, but souls listen. Isn't it? They're different. Ears hear all kinds of things. What's the difference between hearing and listening? What's the difference?
Take out outside noise.
I'm focusing in on something, so it's intention and attention. That's the soul domain. Intention and attention. Ears hear, soul listens. Eyes see all day long a million things in our world. The eyes are seeing, but what does the soul do? The eyes see many things that I'm not even remembering. They see so much all day. Analyzing, no, that's a mental process.
It's experience.
What is the soul doing? If the eyes are seeing, so ears are hearing, soul's
It's
listening.
grasping what's good and
That's a
bad.
secondary step.
Looking,
Observing.
observing.
The soul observes, again, intention and attention. Right? Is it? So ears hear, soul listens. Eyes see, soul observes. Mouth tastes, soul, we're all smiling, enjoys. Isn't it? It must be enjoy. You all started smiling. Okay. So right, I mean the tongue just has taste buds. So the body tastes, the mouth tastes, but the soul enjoys. Right? Okay, the nose smells, and the soul, what does the soul do? This is a tricky one. This is one of our most powerful sense organs, actually. They say it's the last before we die. Even if the eyes are open, there's still smelling is possible.
React to it.
React to it. What's the reaction?
Well, it's like if you smell perfume and you enjoy the smell, you feel
Yes.
relaxed.
A smell. Think of a smell. It's funny, I don't notice most smells throughout the day, but then one will stand out. And then it could be like enjoy, because it's a smell of food, say, and I can already know what it's going to taste like, so I'm enjoying it. But in a way, I'm having a memory. I'm remembering. There's so many associated memories with smells, isn't it? I smell cinnamon buns, I'm in my granny's kitchen as a 5-year-old girl. There's a whole packaged memory connected to a smell. Have you noticed that? So it's like a full experience. I'm experiencing maybe, or remembering. That's what the soul does. Okay, and the hands touch. And what does the soul do? Feel. Feel. So here we refer to this as body consciousness, living life through the sense organs, right? Seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling. Or soul conscious, living life through the experience of the soul, which is listening, observing, enjoying, experiencing or remembering, and feeling. It's the soul that does all those things. It's different, isn't it, than what the sense organs do. It's very subtle, but we can tell the difference, can't we? Yeah? Very powerful. This is our most powerful tool, if you think about it, because when I'm aware of the soul, I have the power to choose where I put my attention. Intention, attention. That is my power when I'm soul conscious. When I'm body conscious, the sense organs are determining. They're dragging the soul along. Isn't it? Very powerful. So, when we want to transform the self, we have to know what self we're transforming. If we're just transforming how I dress, how I look on the outside, the surface level, what job I have, whether I'm married, my marital status, my wealth, at that level of change, to transform the self there, it's this level of self, to think of myself this way. Transformation is very difficult because it's constant movement, noise, turbulence, nothing really stays the same, stays put. I can't get momentum because everything's always changing, isn't it? I mean, in a way it's quite easy to change the surface level of me because everything's changing there all the time anyways, right? When I want to change the next level, I think of myself as the personality, so Judy, try to change Judy. This is what self-development courses help us with. Personal development is, they're thinking of changing Judy, improving Judy. But Judy, she's got a bunch of personality things, she's got a bunch of strengths, and she's got a bunch of weaknesses. So at the level of changing Judy, I'll have, mixed results, let's say. Yeah? But here, our transformation is focused at the core, the soul. And at this level, it's very deep. And I have the energy for transformation deep within me. This is the level that we're aiming at with Raj Yoga. The depth of the self, not the surface level. If I keep trying to change my personality, it will bounce back. right? So we're actually in self-transformation here. We are focused on emerging the core qualities of the soul. And when that spring of pure energy emerges, all the other things disappear. Right? Like the caterpillar and the butterfly. I'm not trying to remove layers of me. I'm actually trying to nourish and strengthen the core of me so that it shines brightly through all the other layers. This is our approach to transformation. Yes? Very different level. So this is the level we're focusing on because this is the self we're wanting to transform. In reality, some would argue we can't transform the self. The self is inherently pure and beautiful and peaceful and loveful and amazing. We're not going to transform that, right? But we will transform our habit to think of ourselves as this or this. That we will transform, and this is a very deep habit. Yes? I always think of myself as a woman. I always think of myself as Indian or Canadian. I always think of myself as a wife or a mother or a daughter. Right? I always think of myself as a professional. This is the habit. When we talk about self-transformation, what I'm actually transforming is the habit of thinking of myself as so much less than I really am. So much less than the treasure store of me that exists beneath the surface, like deep sea diving for a treasure. It's always at the bottom, isn't it? So this is the transformation, is the habit of thinking of myself in superficial ways that limit my happiness. Because at the superficial level, things are always changing. Does that make sense? This frames the transformation here. Is it the self? Okay, so we're going to play with 3 tools for transformation, and you already know what they are. The mind, the intellect, and the sanskaras. I have an exercise for each of us. So I would like you to first think, for the mind exercise, I would like you to think of something you are hoping to transform now in yourself. Everybody has to think of one thing you would like to be different in yourself. Not just slightly improved, but different, transformed. Got it? You all need something for this exercise to work. You all have something? And again, it's a bit paradoxical because we know you can't transform that. You're going to transform your habit of seeing yourself that way. Right? Because we know you are pure, beautiful, peaceful, loving, powerful, right? Blissful, the core. You, the soul, that's who you are, naturally. You can't change that. That's there. But you just have to spend more time with that, and less time with the way you think of yourself. Why? Because your behaviors consistently are that way now. Why? Because you think of yourself that way. I want you to think of yourself as the soul. That's what we're transforming, isn't it? It's the habit. The self is there, buried deep, just waiting to shine. I just have to pay attention to it. So has everyone selected one thing? One thing from your deep self you would like to express more than what you currently express in your personality? Yeah? Okay, tell the person sitting next to you, please, what it is. Or someone sitting close by.
thoughts of one habit. But I thought, yeah, I went to the machine.
So you want to transfer.
I don't know. If I can. And maybe like a preacher or something. Something good, big talk, orator, something good.
For me, I want to be
Okay. Did you get one? The reason for telling your partner is so that you have one.
Do you have one? You do. Does everyone have one?
Everyone has one? Yes, something you want to transform? Okay. Again, we know that that's not really who I am, don't we? I mean, we know, but we don't really know. Right? Because if we really knew, we'd be it. So we kind of know, but not deeply enough. Isn't it? Yeah. And I think most of us have faith that that's true, or we wouldn't be here. Right? We know that's true. We know it. But we're not really feeling it in ourselves yet. So, here's the 3 tools for us. We've got a
Excuse
mind.
me, can I have one little comment or question? Sometimes we know it, but we feel like something should happen that it could happen.
Right. Magically, it will disappear. God will wipe his magic wand, and suddenly I will no longer be that. I'll be this. Isn't it?
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we keep kissing frogs, so they turn into princes. We have this belief. Isn't it? It's the magic pill belief, yeah. But, yeah, we know that that was part of our thinking on the path of devotion.
Right, exactly.
It was magical consciousness. And then we come to God and we realize there's a different magic. It's the magic of what pure energy can do in a soul over time. So the greatest magic Baba performs is to have us believe in ourselves again. To have us really believe that it's there. And yes, we keep getting something out of the bad habit. It does something for us. Right? The reason I'm still using the bad habit is because I get something from it. As long as it really no longer works for me, I won't use it. But I'm still using it because I haven't had the alternative yet. I haven't seen how better the alternative is. And even if I've seen, I'm still getting something from the old habit. Ego's getting something from the old habit. It's always ego. Isn't it? Okay, so we have these 3 tools to use. Let's consider how we can use them for this transformation, okay? First tool, mind. Now, we know that the mind follows a picture, okay? And we know this from positive psychology, we know this from marketing and advertising, we know this from neuro-linguistic programming, we know this from many fields of science. But we have a mind, and it is the screen of consciousness for the soul. The mind actually doesn't go anywhere. Like the Buddhists where I live, they say the mind is like a monkey and it runs all over the place. You have to catch the mind. And I remember thinking, because I was with the Buddhists before I came to the Brahma Kumaris, I remember thinking with the Brahma Kumaris that no, it made much more sense to me that the mind was still, but the thoughts projected on the mind are running like monkeys. It's different. I'm not trying to trap my mind. My mind's there, but it's a screen of consciousness. So inside the soul, the mind is like the screening room of the soul. So it operates in pictures all day long, collages, images, right? And I have buried in me images of myself acting in certain ways for how many births. And those pictures are very deep in me, right? So the mind follows a picture. For instance, look at this. The sign says don't cross the street. What does the picture say?
Crossing.
Right, so what's the picture in the mind? You told your children don't cross the street, what happens? They always do, don't they? You tell your children don't touch, what do? Immediately they touch, right? So, if I say this to myself, don't get angry, what happens? I have a picture of myself getting angry. Every time I say to myself, don't get angry, I'm reinforcing the picture of me being angry. So I'm sabotaging my change effort. Right? I'm wanting not to be angry, but every time I tell myself that, I'm reinforcing this picture because the mind follows a picture. Right? I say this in my little social group or at work. And what picture have I got? I say this to myself. So, the secret for how to use my mind to support my transformation is to understand that if I create pictures of what I don't want, I am filling my mind with negative pictures. I'm filling my mind with what I don't want. And I get lots of help. And I get help from all my friends who will tell me all the stories of what went wrong. Right? And how they're worried about this or that. So the secret to how to use our mind is to understand there is no picture for don't. So then my mind is empty. And Baba has taught us when my mind is empty, nature abhors a vacuum. If my mind is empty, what happens? I suck in all the energy of the world around me. I suck in the fear, the worry, the anxiety, the negative images, right? So I don't ever want my mind to be empty. I want it to be full. So I have to create pictures of what I want. What do you want? Not what you don't want. It's so simple. But it's like trying to, in Canada we have salmon. Maybe you have in America, right? Salmon swim upstream against the current. And then they jump and then they spawn in a river. So we are a little bit like salmon swimming upstream, only not just against the current of a river, but against Niagara Falls. Because the world around us is rushing full of negative images, negative energy. And we, in our little minds, are trying to create positive images of what I want. And how many times in a day do I get sucked downstream with all the images of what people don't want? And somebody tells me I'm worried about my child going to, suddenly now I'm worried about my child. Right? Or somebody says, this happened in this country, this could happen to us. Suddenly now I'm imagining that happening to me. Right? It doesn't take much for me to create images in my mind of what I don't want. And I get so much help. Instead, every day in the Murli, Baba gives us pictures. Pictures and feelings of what we do want. And when I asked you, why are you transforming? You said, because you want to be happier, so you know what you want. So you need to create pictures of what you want. What do you want? This is very important for us to create pictures in our mind of what we want. So I'd like to do this exercise now because the mind is one of our 3 greatest tools for self-transformation. Okay, are we using our mind accurately, effectively, as a tool for our transformation? We can use it better. Fill it with pictures, okay? So So you're ready for this? We'll do a little tiny meditation, and it's actually going to be a visualization because the mind likes pictures. Okay? So I'm going to ask you just to get yourself comfortable. You know how to do this, so I won't spend much time on body relaxation and all that. But if you can, just take a couple of deep breaths to get settled into your chair. And release very slowly through your mouth. And in, deep breath in. And release slowly through your mouth. Now I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for this so that you can see the screen of your mind, which is where the back of the eyelids are. Okay? I'd like you to imagine a big screen in your mind. And on this screen, I'm going to ask you to imagine the scene of you acting the way you act now, the way you don't like, the way you want to change. So let's say Hansabet and I picked impatience. We want to become more patient. So I'm going to picture in my mind a situation. What does it look like when I'm being impatient? So I'll ask you all. This will be very short because I don't want to reinforce this picture, but you need to start with what does it look like when you're acting or being the way you don't want. Okay, so just a quick snapshot of that picture. Put your hands up when you have it in your mind. As soon as everybody has it, we'll change the picture. Okay, hands up when you can see how you are when you are not the way you want to be. Okay, very good. Okay, now, you know how we have a text bubble around something? I'd like you to put that picture in a text bubble in your mind. And now I want you to shrink the text bubble smaller, smaller, smaller until it becomes a dot, a little tiny point on the screen of your mind. Now this dot is finished. Past is past, Baba would say. And now I'd like you to take a deep breath in. And I would like you to be aware of yourself as a point, the dot, the soul, behind the eyes. I would like you to connect to Baba. Stretch your awareness upwards to the point of light, the supreme light. Draw energy in from the supreme light. And this light now, I would like you to breathe into that point until that little point in your mind grows into a big, beautiful text bubble filled with light. Little by little, as you breathe in, that little dot gets bigger and bigger in your mind until it becomes a new text bubble full of light. And now I would like you to imagine, visualize in detail inside this text bubble what it would look like if you were acting and being different. You are acting and being the way you want to be. What would it look like? Picture yourself. How are you moving your body? What words are you speaking? What's the expression on your face? What's your tone of voice? You are being everything you want to be. And it's beautiful. You like it a lot. Feel good about the way you're acting, the way you're talking. Your facial expression. Can you see it? Work a little harder until you can picture what it looks like when you are being the way you want to be. Breathe in. And very slowly open your eyes. So you're aware you're a soul looking out through the eyes of the body. But inside is a new picture, the seed of a new picture. You must grow this seed. You must water this seed every day until it becomes a very powerful internal reality. As soon as the reality becomes powerful inside of you, you will then begin to express it in your actions. It starts first in your mind. If you can see it, you can do it. If you cannot see it, you will not do it. You have to see it first. This is why sometimes sitting in meditation we visualize. We visualize in advance. I'm going into a situation. I already know that will be a challenging situation. I connect to Baba. I fill myself with light, with positive energy, and then I visualize what could that look like if it goes well. Right? And even without all the details, because I don't always know all the details, but I can visualize the feeling. I can be in the situation and I can feel good. I can feel right in the way I am being. Right? I can feel that the relationship is good. It's nice. This is going very well. I can visualize that without all the details of who said what and how did they say it. And no, I won't know all of that because I can't. It's not about controlling. It's more about setting my energy right. Right? So that I then carry that energy and that faith that it can go well because I've already seen it go well. Check. Right? I'm on the other side of it. I feel good. It was good. How many of you were able to visualize yourself being the way you'd like to be? Okay. Wonderful start. Little bit. This is homework. This is homework. We call this Mansa Seva. Actually, we call this serving through our minds. You can use your mind to create pictures of what you want to create. It's not about getting the new car, getting the new house. It's me being the way I want to be. Because by visualizing that, I'm actually activating the seed of those qualities in me. But first it starts with the mind. So if I want to be that way, I visualize it. Instead of spending my time saying, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to get angry again, I don't want to be. See how that works? How well are you using your minds right now for self-transformation? 20%? 30%? If you're still doing the, I don't, I'm worried about this. One of the biggest traps for us as BK, as spiritual students, is that we get sucked into thinking about our weaknesses. And we think we're improving ourselves by thinking about our weaknesses, but actually we're reinforcing images in our mind of what we don't want. So every time I notice my weakness, I have to switch the picture, change channels. Yes, I know you're there. I'm not guilty of denial or suppression. I know you're there, and I am choosing to visualize this, because this is what I want to give my energy to. When we start using our minds that way, then we get 60, 70, 80%. As soon as we cross the 50%, we're going to get traction. We're going to get momentum. Does that make sense? Yeah? Any questions? That's the mind. Any questions on that one? This is hard work, actually. That's why, Baba says effort. It's effort. To stop, just say, okay, all those other pictures for a moment, take a break. I'm going to visualize what I want, how I want to be. I'm going to give myself that gift of pictures. You like? You can do? Okay. Next one, intellect. Raj Yoga is for the intellect. Why? It's the intellect that picks up the vibe. The intellect is like a periscope, a telescope, a microscope. It focuses in on something. Big, small, far away, close. But the intellect picks up the vibe, right? So, our intellect tells us what's true. How do you know what's true? Somebody tells you a lie. How do you know it's a lie? Sometimes the expression on the face, sometimes the way they talk. How do you know it's true? Sometimes you know the reality, so you know it's a different story. Usually it's a vibe, isn't it? You pick up a vibe. There's a feeling. How do you know that what you're hearing in the Murli is true?
Your mind accept it. It's seems true. And
Seems true, stands to reason,
and your mind accept it. This is really true.
but it's the intellect that discerns truth, right? So the intellect's picking up a vibe. Even if you don't understand it 100%, there's something that says, this seems right. Seems right. There's a vibe, right? So I'd like to check, because the intellect discerns truth. And the intellect also discerns Baba. So the intellect discerns a vibration that lies deeper than facts. Facts are what I hear, what I see, what I taste, what I touch, what I smell. Those are the facts. But we put together the facts according to our bias. And we make meaning of the facts according to my perception and my bias, isn't it? So truth lies much deeper than the facts. Right? Journalists give us the facts. He said this, she said that. What time did they do it? In what order? But truth is a vibration. We can pick up a vibration. I'd like to do an exercise with you where we compare words. And I would like you to see if you can pick the word that has the highest vibration. Words are just shortcuts to describe energy. Shortcut, right? We say love, it's a word. But you know what I mean by love, right? It's an energy we've all felt. I say determination, it's a word. But you all know what that means. Why? Because you felt that energy before. Isn't it? So, I'm going to give you two words, and I'm going to ask you to see if you can discern which word has the highest vibration. Here we go. First one. Beautiful or pretty? Beautiful. Why? Why is beautiful higher vibration than pretty? Beauty lasts longer.
And it's inside and outside.
Beauty is inside and outside, whereas pretty is outside, surface. So one is deeper than the other. Formal or civil? Formal or civil? Which is the higher vibration? Civil. Why civil? Be civilized. It's internal. You can see it. It's what? Well-mannered. Civil is a little more internal. It's about your manners, right? Formal is... it's outside. It's like a structure for behavior, right? It can be a bit rigid too, can't it? It's not always nice. Whereas civil, pretty much always nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Baba also always mentions.
Baba always says civil eyes. I'm civilized, right? Okay, this one, praising or flattering?
Praising.
Praising, why? That was instant. That one was easy and fast. Okay, but why is praising a higher vibration?
The praising is honest.
Praising is honest, whereas flattering can be selfish. I want something, so I'm flattering you. isn't it? There's a selfish motive. Right, okay. Blunt or candid? Which is the higher vibration word? Candid or blunt? Candid. Why candid? We can tell, right? The intellect is discerning, candid. But then we can't explain why. Can we? But we know, don't we? So candid feels a bit fresh, doesn't it? It feels like pure honesty. Whereas blunt, this feels like it's got something mixed in it. Like maybe anger, or maybe righteousness, maybe a little aggression. Like blunt can hurt. Right? Candid doesn't usually hurt. Yeah, okay. It's more pure. Exactly. How about this one? Impulsive, spontaneous. Which one's higher vibration? Spontaneous, impulsive. Spontaneous. Okay, why spontaneous? These are so hard, aren't they, to explain? But you always pick easily, but then it's hard to explain. So think about it, because this is the intellect working. Even thinking about why is one higher vibe than the other is making your intellect work. Our intellect has become very lazy. Baba says stone intellect. Right? But we can discern the difference. We just don't always know why. Right? So why in this case? Spontaneous is a higher vibe.
More natural.
More natural. A little bit like the candid blunt. One is pure and one has got something else in it. Impulsive has something else in it. Doesn't it? It's like an addiction. Makes me compulsive, but impulsive is reckless. Isn't it? It's sort of sense organ driven. Right? Could be dangerous. Impulsive. Next one. I think there's 3 more. Determined or stubborn?
Determined.
Why? It's so hard to explain, isn't it?
Determined
Like you're
is kind of
determined to achieve your goal.
Right. So determined somehow is towards something. Stubborn is against something. It's like blocking energy, which isn't pure, is it? Right. So again, purity. How about this one? Allowing or enabling? Which one? Allowing. And why allowing? Nope, somebody's saying enabling. Depends. Enabling's a funny word because it's got, I don't know about here, but in Canada that word, we think about it in terms of codependence or addictions. I enable someone. So then it's not such a positive word. Then allowing would be the higher vibration. But allowing could be just giving permission, whereas enabling is also giving support to help make it happen. So that would be higher in that case, wouldn't it? Okay, how about this one? Reliant or dependent? Reliant. Why? Dependent, I feel a bit weak, don't I? Like I'm using a crutch. Whereas reliant, somehow there's strength in that. Isn't there power in that? The vibration, the higher vibe comes from the power in reliant. Very nice. Okay, and this I think might be the last one. Striving or driven? Striving. Striving or driven? Again, striving is towards something. Driven is away from something. Or something negative is driving you, maybe. Ambition drives people. Striving, more positive? Yeah, you're reaching, you're aspiring. Isn't it? Okay, so that was hard. Was that hard? You've just been to the gym for your intellect. Isn't it? This is a gym for the intellect, doing this kind of thing. We've just worked out your intellect, because your intellect is all about discerning. And it seems to me that in almost every case, you all picked the higher vibe, but then the trouble came in explaining to yourself why. So we know, but we don't know why we know. Isn't it? But already that means the intellect is functioning. This is a very good sign. Intellect is functioning. And you notice we all picked the same ones. Except in a couple cases where we were not quite sure, but then we all picked the same one in every case. How is that possible? They're just words.
Vibration in the room.
Vibration in the room, and the vibration resonates with the truth in me. So the higher vibration in each of those words resonates with the highest vibration in me. Our intellects are our second tool for self-transformation. I have to discern the highest energy in me, the highest vibration in me. Of course, I'm accustomed to operating on different levels of vibration. At my most body conscious, it's a coarse, low vibration. Right? When I'm God connected, it's the highest vibration, isn't it? But inside of me, I know the difference between beautiful and pretty. Which one am I using, even in my language? But which one am I connecting to, right? So the vibration of God is the highest vibration of all. So if I'm using my intellect to discern the highest vibration, Baba's vibration, that resonates with the highest vibration in me. So I'm lifting myself up to my highest vibration every time I use my intellect to discern Baba's energy. Not just the idea of God, but the vibration of such purity. Right? And when I'm focusing in on my own highest vibration. This is how we use our intellect. Always discern the highest vibe and go with that in every situation. Does that make sense? Any questions about intellect? Okay, that's a good one. All right, and here's our last one. This one is
One
going to...
minute, I have a question.
Yes, you have a question? And we need to pass all these papers out because this last exercise is fun. So, I need one as a sample. Thank you. Okay, if you can pass those all out quickly. If you wouldn't mind, just as Hansabet asked her question, if you can all be folding your paper like this to make a perfect square. So if we fold to the tip, we have a perfect square, right? And then we fold...
We have enough time. Yeah.
Okay, you know how that works? So now I have a perfect square. So what I did is I folded the edge to the tip like that. And then I saw there was this much paper left. And I folded that paper over and ripped it off. And now I have a perfect square. Right? I start with the paper like this. And I just fold the bottom tip. I was going to do this beforehand, but I went into other things. Right? So then you fold this down and get rid of it, and now I have a perfect square. So however you do it, if you could just get a perfect square, perfect. You've got it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, this is going to be our last exercise for sanskars. Okay? Hansaben.
Actually, I was asking a question that when we are looking at the screen,
This screen
Yeah.
or the screen of our mind?
both,
Okay.
then we are trying to, use our intellect. Like, for example, which has a better vibration, like determination or stubbornness, right?
Yes.
So that's like intellectually, we know that. But when we are acting, sometimes we are not realizing that I'm determined or stubborn. What am I? Or like I'm spontaneous or impulsive.
Which am I?
Right, because sometimes we feel like, I'm being spontaneous, but then somebody said, no, you were impulsive. So how, one is a word-wise, that spontaneity has a good vibration, we know that. But when we do things, we feel like I was determined and somebody said, no, you were stubborn.
Yeah, that's true. I say I'm determined, they say, no, you're stubborn. We can't tell the difference. That's a wonderful example.
And I feel like I was spontaneous and they said you were impulsive.
Yeah, I feel I was spontaneous, they say I was impulsive. Okay, so as our intellect becomes more refined, we can tell the difference. And we all have blind spots where we cannot tell. We cannot see ourselves. So we are practicing discerning. Was that the pure core energy of me, or was that one of the substitute energies we call Ravan, the 5 vices? Was that actually ego? Was that greed? Was that anger? A little bit of lust or attachment in there somewhere. Can I discern when there's a mix? And when there's a mix, it will be stubborn, not determined. Where there's a mix, where there isn't purity, it will be the lower vibe. But we can't always see in ourselves. And that's why feedback from others is so helpful. If 20 people tell me I'm stubborn, and I still think I'm determined, then I'm being really stubborn, aren't I? Right?
Actually, one thing is, like you are mentioning, this refinedness or a discernment, even people tell me or not, my soul will tell me.
Yeah.
Okay?
And if your soul doesn't tell you, Brahma and other people will tell you. Eventually. If you don't get it by yourself.
Right. And another thing is, when I'm stubborn, I myself will feel different vibrations.
Yeah. You won't feel so good.
Exactly.
Because you were using force.
Exactly.
It was violence.
Right.
It wasn't
So
non-violent.
afterwards, like after half an hour, 1 hour, 1 day, in your soul, even if you are not total Pakka Brahman, still your soul will feel something that you are little bit less restful.
Something's wrong.
Something wrong. Exactly.
Something's wrong. You'll know something's wrong. Your
Whenever
conscience will bite you.
Exactly.
And if you do your chart, if you really check yourself regularly,
Right.
you will be able to discern quickly, oh, it was yesterday when I was being stubborn with so-and-so in the kitchen.
Right.
It'll be like a billboard in your mind will go on, and you'll go, oh, that's why I feel so bad right now.
But that's good. We immediately
It's
write
good.
to Baba
It's
and we
good.
become free.
We become free. And the funny thing about this path of Raj Yoga that I've discovered is that just when I think I'm moving forward, I see some other little dark bit in myself. And actually, that's evidence of moving forward. Because
Yes.
my intellect is more refined. Now things that were hidden from my view are no longer hidden. I see them. That's good news.
Yes.
Even though it feels like this is endless. There's so many of these things in me. But actually it's good news, because I'm seeing it. Okay, everyone have a piece of paper. We know what the subconscious traits, we know what sanskaras are, right? And we know the core qualities of the soul. So this little exercise is just to experience them. I'd like you to fold your paper in half this way, and then you're going to fold it again so you have a little square. A perfect square and a perfect square. Okay, so fold it half and then half again until you have a perfect little square. And then where the square comes together in the V here, I would like you just to rip a little tiny bit off and tuck it in your pocket or under your seat so that your paper looks like this. Okay, and just tuck that little paper away somewhere.
Judy's specialty is activities.
Yeah. Okay, so okay. next one, right side on the top. You're going to write 2 qualities. If I were to ask your friends what they like most about you, the 2 qualities they would say to me about you. So what do you admire most about this person? And they would tell me 2 things about you. What would your friends tell me about you? 2 things they admire in you. So if your friends were to tell what they like about you, what would they say? Just 2 things that your friends like about you. So this is what other people see in you, especially those people who know you really well. Okay? The 2 things they like most about you. Everyone has? Okay, next one. Bottom left. Bottom left, if you could write the 2 qualities you admire most about yourself. Okay, and the last square at the very bottom, this one is the best compliment you could ever receive. So if someone were to give you a compliment, what is the compliment, the best compliment you could ever get? The one you would really like to get? Write it in the bottom box. So if you were to get a compliment, the best compliment you could ever receive, what would it be? I know, and if you don't know, it's a great opportunity to think about it. What's the thing you would really, really value someone said to you? Okay, everyone have? All right. So now we're going to share. So I'm going to ask you to rip the top left hand. This is the thing you loved to do as a child. Take that away. Rip that one off. This is the thing you loved to do as a child. Just take that one off. The top one. Nope, just the top one. Top left, what you loved to do as a child. Rip that off. And one at a time, we will take them. And I would like you to turn to the person sitting next to you, and I would like to tell you to tell them what you loved to do as a child and how it made you feel. Okay? Go ahead and turn to them. Tell them. Tell them.
So I want to feel victorious and obedience to parents. I want to play and happy.
Engage and happy.
Yeah, I can use it. As I used to love, it's one of the things. And I feel like I'm using my time in a worthwhile way.
Okay, now, next one, rip off the top right, and this is what your friends like about you. Okay, take that off. Now I want you to turn to somebody else, somebody you haven't talked to before, and share with them. Tell them, if your friends were to say, what would they say?
They understood what is the meaning of it. They all ask one more time.
So they're sharing the second one.
Yeah.
What two qualities your friends love most about you?
Right. Like you are funny, or you are like my friend. Say funny. So I always so two qualities of me. Playful. Or loveful.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, put that on your little stack. Next one, bottom left. Now, this is what you like about yourself. Two qualities you really appreciate about yourself. And I want you to tell someone else. Go find someone else you haven't. And tell them and listen to them. Go on, get up, find someone else, someone you haven't shared with yet. Tell them.
Kind and giver.
I like by myself. I'm one who's
Helpful and positive, kind and giver.
Okay, and our last one. This is the compliment. Okay, we've got one left, the compliment. So, you are going to stand up in a minute and you are going to walk somewhere else in this room, not near the people you just were talking to, and you're going to find someone else. You're all going to stand up in a minute, but here's how it's going to work. You are going to read out loud this compliment to the other person as if you're giving it to them, and then you will give them the paper. Okay, so everybody stand up now. Go find someone you haven't talked to yet. Read aloud the compliment and then give it to them.
You are right and you're connected with one.
Okay, here it is. Oh, do I give this to you? Or are you
Read it. You are reading to be there about me.
you are a truly caring person.
God bless you.
You are very careful. And much you are needed without you.
God is blessing you.
Light means I know. What is life? Nobody wishes me.
Okay, have you received a compliment? Pretty good? Yeah, why do you feel so good? You feel joyful. Why do you feel so good?
Because we get compliments.
Because we got compliments, more than that though. Because you just spent the last 10 minutes in your core quality, your core sanskaras. You've just been with your core self for the last 10 minutes, right? You've been experiencing your own core qualities for the last 10 minutes. That's why you feel so good, isn't it? So where did all those qualities come from? Find your little piece of paper, please. Find that little, wherever you put it, find it, please. You might need to lick it. Where did that come from? Go on, put it on your forehead. You might have to lick it. You on your forehead? Okay, look around. Look around the room. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look around the room, everyone. It's beautiful. Where is yours? At the back. Where is yours? Little tiny, tiny, tiny.
It's too tiny.
Where is your soul? Where is your little piece of paper? Uh-oh, you can't find it. You lost your soul.
You found it?
It's the trouble we're having, isn't it? If you can't find it. It fell off. Okay, lick it. Lick it. Yeah. There you go. All right, now look around. Show everyone your beautiful soul. All right. So where did all those qualities come from? All of that good energy come from? So we know that the core qualities, that my deepest qualities are all beautiful, positive like that. That's why we feel good when we're in them, right? So this is the third tool for self-transformation. Spend more time with my core energy. Now, as it turns out, all of these little pieces of paper actually reflect the specialities of me, the soul. Because everything in my life has been an expression of me, the soul. It's my creation, right? So when I look at these words on here, it gives me a little bit of a hint to what my speciality, to what's unique about me. And each of us, even though we all have peace, love, power, purity, bliss, we all have the same qualities. We have them in a special blend that is unique to me. Isn't it? Like Daddy Gulzar, different blend than Daddy Janki. We all have all the same qualities, but a different blend, right? So when I look at the words on this little piece of paper, I have some hints, because these are the things that have felt really good for me throughout my whole life. These are the things other people see in me. These are the qualities I admire in me. So I know what's at the core of me. There's the concept, the theory. Okay, everyone has love, peace, power, pure. Okay, but then there's my version, my expression, my blend, my combination that's unique to me. So the third is our sanskars, the core of the soul. So what are our three tools for self-transformation? First one, mind. And what do we do with the mind? Pictures of what I want. Second tool for self-transformation? Intellect. And what am I doing with my intellect? Discerning the highest vibe in every situation. Yeah? And what am I doing with the sanskars? I'm staying as close as I can to the real me, those beautiful qualities that I've had with me always. And I remember that's who I am. Om Shanti. How was that? Is that okay? Nice? And pretty much on time, too. That's amazing. Pretty good.
It went very fast.
It went very fast, didn't it? It always does when we're doing experiences, doesn't it? Yeah. So I'm always just trying to play with ways we can experience kind of what we already know, but we need to deepen a little bit. So the mind, yes, go ahead.
On a third quadrant, what we want to be, or
What you admire most about yourself. Yeah. Oh, look, we have, and you know, I brought special blessings. Is this the moment for that? Or are those tomorrow? Oh, those are Raki.
We can decide it tomorrow
Okay,
or whenever.
okay. Are you coming back?
Yes.
This group is coming back?
Yes.
Yes, most of you are coming back.
All are coming back tomorrow and Sunday both.